Well, then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, thanks everybody for being here tonight. I just want to, before I turn it over to our lovely moderator for the evening, I just wanted to make a quick announcement that obviously, as you have already noticed, we are on the phone. We are not on the video. Our camera, as these things do, decided it didn't want to work for us tonight. So I appreciate everybody. I appreciate that everyone joined us, and I thank you all for bearing with us. And next, I'd like to introduce Larlene Dunsmere, Executive Director of Professional Services and Oregon Nurses Foundation, who will be our lovely moderator for the evening.
Great, thank you, and thank you to all the members and candidates who are participating tonight in the second ever ONA 2019 Statewide Election Town Hall. The decisions that are being asked to be made during this election process are really important, as ONA is a member-led organization, and the people who participate in its governance ensure that members' voices are guiding the vision and direction of the organization. So this year, we have many contested races in multiple seats, including several board of directors positions, cabinet on health policy seats, and seats for ANA delegates. It's very exciting and inspiring to see this level of enthusiasm, and it to us signals that our organization is healthy and growing. Tonight, members will have the opportunity to talk to candidates about the issues that are important to them. Our hope is that this will help you make decisions as you cast your vote in the ONA statewide election. We're going to start the program soon, but first we're going to review a few simple instructions. And for that, I'm going to turn the session back over to ONA's Chief of Staff, Whitney Wong.
All right. So we'll just review a few simple instructions. Okay. So the agenda tonight will start with the candidates answering a series of 3 prepared questions. We'll then open the floor to members to ask questions of their own. All questions from members should be typed into the GoToMeeting webinar question section of the drop-down menu on the right side of your screen. Larlene will read each question out to each candidate and then call on each candidate to answer. Questions will be read in a first-come, first-served order. Candidates will speak in alphabetical order. We ask that everybody make sure their phone is on mute unless you're a candidate speaking. And we will conclude the town hall when everybody has a chance to ask and answer each question. One more note, we are recording this town hall tonight, so the audio will be on our website and used as part of the promotion for the ONA statewide election. Does anybody need any instructions clarified either in the room or on the computer? All right, thank you very much.
Great, so we're going to start with asking each of the candidates to answer 3 questions at once. So first, candidates, please start by introducing yourself, identifying what position you're running for, and speak a bit to your leadership experience. Second, we'll ask that you talk about the reasons you decided to run for ONA office. And finally, address what you think is the most critical issue facing ONA over the next 2 years and how you hope to use your position, if you're elected, to address these issues. So we're going to start with Allison Seymour, who's running for Board of Directors.
And as a point of clarification, I'm going to answer all 3 questions at the same time.
Correct.
Okay. A little different than the first one. Okay. My name, where's the speaker? Oh, right above us. My name is Allison Seymour. I'm a practicing nurse at Salem Health on the medical telemetry floor at night. I have been involved with ONA since 2015, the year that I graduated from nursing school from Oregon Health and Science University in La Grande, Oregon. My first experiences with Lobby Day were my first experiences with ONA were the ONA Lobby Day. From there, that really sparked my passion and interest in ONA, and I've been serving in various leadership positions since then. I've served on the ONA PAC and new PAC. I supported Measure 101. I've supported ONA endorsed candidates and have done interviews with candidates up to the governor. I also, this last season, knocked over 200 doors for various candidates, including our own Rachel Prusak. My favorite thing to do is to attend Lobby Day and to provide testimony that supports our mission, vision, and values. Currently, we're working on a workplace violence bill, and I wholeheartedly support that because I don't think any of us need to go to work and be subjected to any physical or sexual violence. At ONA, at our last convention, I spoke in regard to NLI. I completed NLI a couple of years ago, and I received the Susan King Emerging Leadership Award. NLI was a great opportunity for me, and I endorse it wholeheartedly, and I hope that anybody that's interested in getting more involved will take that opportunity to become more prepared as an ONA leader. Since April, I've been serving in new graduate position on the board, and I bring a unique voice to the board, being a newly graduated individual, and given my experience in Eastern Oregon through various clinical sites, from a small clinic up by Wallowa Lake to bedside nursing at a small community hospital. The next question, please remind me.
Was just to speak about why you decided to run for the ONA office that you're running for.
So I'm currently running for a director position on the board. Since April, I have been serving as a new graduate position, and I'm barely getting my feet wet, and I want to continue the work. I'm running because I enjoy being an advocate, not only at the bedside but on a statewide level with ONA. My real opinion is that our healthcare systems, work environments, and patient outcomes can be better. When I work a shift and we're short, I know our staffing can be better. When I get harassed or physically assaulted at work, and I see my colleague, this happens to my colleague, I know we can be better. Through ONA, we can make a big difference in our state. I know we have through our staffing law, and collectively, we have the ability and resources to truly make a difference. Working with ONA fulfills my nursing spirit, and it reminds me why I wanted to become a nurse. I turn to advocacy when I have a bad day. When I have a bad day at work, I think about my work here with ONA. ONA makes a difference, and we have the power to cultivate great change. The greatest issue facing ONA is that we need to provide our current services and fulfill our current promises. ONA is a very ambitious organization, and ambitious work takes a lot of hands and a lot of people. Tackling large issues such as staffing and workplace violence is no small feat. As we search for a new executive director, we need to build off our current work and not lose momentum. We need to look towards our staff and our member leaders to step up. Personally, since being on the board in the new grad position, I have learned much about the inner workings of ONA and what it requires. I'm eager to continue our legislative advocacy, working on policy, and preparing for our next convention. I look forward to serving on the board and learning more and meeting members at our next bargaining unit conference next week. Thank you, everyone.
Great, thank you, Allison. So next up is Caitlin Reed, who's the incumbent running for the treasurer position on the ONA Board of Directors. Caitlin?
Caitlin unmuted. Randy.
Caitlin is muted from her side.
So it appears, Caitlin, that you're on mute. Maybe try unmuting us and let me know when you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Larlene. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, great. Thank you, Larlene, for the introduction. My name is Caitlin Reed. I am currently serving as the ONA treasurer, as Larlene mentioned. I work at the bedside at OHSU and the cardiac ICU, and I have been a member for ONA since I started at OHSU in 2013. I first started my association with ONA as the treasurer of the Oregon Student Nurses Association when I served my term during while I was a student, which was an 18-month term from 2010 to 2011. I found that the reason I've selected to continue with working as the treasurer is that I've learned both during my time while I was at OSNA and now at ONA that the way we can breathe our values into life is by making sure we spend our resources in a way that reflects the drive of our membership. So when we meet with our membership, which always brings me great joy to hear what people want to see from ONA, we can take that information and make sure that we can use our dues to push our organization in that direction. And that's the reason, that is my philosophy on how the treasurership should be run. And that is why I want to run again, to continue to listen and to continue to breathe life into the goals that we have as a membership. I think our biggest challenge ahead is that we need to remain consistent as we search for an executive director again. And I think our greatest strength in this journey in looking for an executive director is that ultimately we are a member-run organization, and we have created a 5-year strategic plan that will bring continuity to the next few years, even as the change of leadership is going to happen as we select a new executive director. I think it's a great opportunity for us to make sure we have really good alignment in the strategic plan that we have created with the work of our membership and our staff, in order to strongly continue our work and bring us into that next 5-year plan once we complete this one. I think the challenge with this is that we need to keep our eye on the horizon and not let any hiccups that come up along the way to distract us, and stick to that 5-year plan that we've made. And I think that will help us be really successful.
Great, thank you, Caitlin. So next we're going to hear from Shay Richardson Young, who is running for the new grad position on the ONA Board of Directors. Shay, are you there?
Use it or anything, or
Try to get to the. Shay.
Shay, just make sure that you're unmuted and let us know when you're ready.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thanks. Go ahead and.
Oh, great. Hi, Larlene. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Sorry about the technical difficulties. So my name is Shay Richardson Young. I am running for the position of new graduate director. I am currently part of the ONA Nurse Leadership Institute, the 2018-2019 cohort. Earlier this year, I attended Lobby Day at the state capitol and got to see firsthand what it looks like to sit down with legislators and communicate with them. That was pretty cool. In 2018, I had the opportunity to attend ONA convention in Bend as an ONA delegate, or Eversville, an Oregon Student Nursing Association delegate. And then prior to that, I served as Oregon Student Nursing Association president for 2017 and into 2018. And then I work at Kaiser Permanente, and I've been working there since September of last year. And additionally, I'm a dad to my son Kai. He's 20 months old, and each day I spend a lot of time thinking about how to teach him about the world we live in and try and set a good example. I include that last piece because I think, I think it's really important to be really intentional in everything we do. And so then the next piece is, why am I running for ONA office? I believe that nurses have the power to enact change at the bedside, in the clinic where I work, within skilled and assisted living settings, thanks to a resolution adopted in 2018, as well as state and federal levels. I have seen nurses be a part of making change. Changes happen to create safer, more equitable, and inclusive workspaces. I've seen changes around organizing to elect Rachel Prusak to the state legislature. And I think also making sure that nurses keep our focus on union matters and that they're addressed properly, and to maintain our focus on safe staffing for patients. I see our most critical issue going forward well, I had a hard time narrowing it down, but I think that it's really coming down to safe staffing. I think it needs to be addressed on a frequent basis, and I think ONA is really clear on that front. But I think that it's still hard to maintain something that is so broad over a long period of time. But I believe that we have a duty to our patients, and we have to constantly step up and make our voices heard, as ONA is. So I plan to leverage my position to gain more understanding about staffing, our current state laws, and to continue to place focus on this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay. All right, next we're going to hear from Lace Vilk, who is running for a position on the Cabinet on Nursing Practice and Research. Hello.
Thank you. So one of the things that I'm really excited about is that position is there's 4 seats and 4 members that ran. So I still wanted to be a part of the town hall meeting just to make sure I'm answering the questions and doing all of the things to show my dedication to the position. So I have been an ONA member since 2014 when I joined OHSU. For me, being a part of a union was brand new because I came from a state that did not have a union for its nursing workforce. And I work on a telemetry unit in intermediate care at OHSU, and I have been there since I started. So why I want to be a part of ONA, it's pretty simple. For me, being a part of the union was pretty eye-opening how much more robust nursing voice was, and I think nursing voice within organizations makes patient outcomes better and makes workplaces more robust and healthy, and I was surprised at the difference. So being a part of ONA was a no-brainer for me. I am a newer member of being active in public advocacy and advocacy in general. Last year was my first year. I was a part of the NN until April, the National Leadership Institute class, which has been lovely to meet people, and also did Lobby Day this year, and really was blown away at how wonderful the platforms and the way that everything is presented and how well respected everything is. How it goes. So being a part of that cabinet really gets me fired up because for me personally, I feel like nursing practice and research is really best fostered by individuals that have to own it, and like getting people to feel inspired and supported through education of those things is something that I feel like I'm good at, and understanding trends and seeing how those work out for individual areas as well as a larger scale, specifically through innovations of electronic medical record is something that I see. I'd like to see in the future change from less of a hurdle to patient care and more of a tool that really inspires and helps. Critical issue that ONA is facing is specifically in the next 2 years. 100% on board with what everybody else said about staffing. This is a big issue. There's been so much wonderful forward momentum with it that it's exciting to see that moving forward. It's a big issue, and I think Oregon has the potential to do it right and set a precedent. The other issue that I think is huge that everybody else has kind of already talked about is workplace violence. It's a shame if you go to work and you're worried about how it would be perceived if there is something that has happened to you and it's not just kind of dealt with quietly. It's less important to have it said and say this is what I'm dealing with, and more important to just deal with it. So I'd love to see people not have to worry about that so much. And just to recap, I'm really excited to be a part of it and learn more about.
Thanks, Lace. So last but certainly not least is Terry Mills, who's seeking an open position as a ONA delegate to ANA.
Thank you, Laureline. So first of all, I want to thank all of you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. It's really an honor to run alongside these stellar young candidates who've nominated themselves to be ANA delegates at the membership assembly, and I can really honestly say that I would be pleased to have any one of them represent ONA. As far as qualifications and candidate statement, just for all of you who are listening tonight, there is a link on OregonRN.org to the elections. And all of our bios and all of the things that we've done in the past are listed under our name. So it's really easy. And as a former educator, I really believe and know that nurses love evidence and they love to read facts. So please look that up on all the candidates that are running, because that will give you a lot of information. So presently, I recently retired as a longtime nurse educator from Portland Community College. I taught nursing for 42 years. I really miss it, but one of the ways that I can stay involved with the young people is through the Oregon Nurses Association, and I'm always really inspired by the work that they do. I love mentoring the next generation of our nursing profession. I think that's where it's at for all of us. It's just to keep carrying on our legacy as nurses. I also worked as a nurse practitioner for 30 years. I'm serving my 4th term on the Cabinet for Health Policy, currently as the Vice Chair, and I'm also the Vice President of the PAC, and I've served on the PAC since 2014. There is, because of my age, I think I could probably talk for a half hour about everything that I've done in the past. I would say that primarily I consider myself to be a political nurse activist, and I particularly care about social justice and issues that really pertain to public health, the public health arena, and making things better for our patients' lives and our families and the community that we serve. Tomorrow I will be testifying down in Salem to represent the Oregon Nurses Association for our gun sense legislation along with Moms Demand Action. So I was really proud of ONA when they took that position. So why am I running? Well, there are several reasons. One is that one of the unique things that I believe that I can bring to the table is expertise on healthcare and nursing policy. Now, that's not to say that there's a lot of people that are running that wouldn't do it. And like I said, I'm fine with any of them getting elected. I wanted to toss my hat in the ring, but it doesn't have to be me. So some of the things that we're working on in our cabinet are really similar to what is happening with the American Nurses Association. Let me give you some examples of what they are working on and how things are different. So one thing is, one of the big priorities is the Workplace Violence Act, which was introduced in Congress. It's become a high priority, not only for ANA and AFT, of course, for us. And I really hope that we pass our bill first, because I love it when Oregon leads the way in nursing and healthcare, and often we do. So right now that bill has 57 co-sponsors, but they're working to get more. And it is one of the top priorities. Right now, our Senate bill, 823, Healthcare Worker Protection Act, is in a work session, which is really promising. So we're hoping to move that forward, because I know that's important to several people that have talked tonight too. Another thing that everybody is working on right now are ways to increase the immunization rate. We're trying to promote paid family leave. We're trying to promote gun sense legislation. Those are similarities. Staffing is a very complex issue right here at home. It is nationally, and right now I don't believe that there's any bills on the national horizon, not to say that by the end of June there won't be. And then finally, one of the biggest priorities for Congress is the Title VIII Nursing Workforce Reauthorization Act, which I am a big proponent for, because I often have students that slept in their cars, that could not afford to eat, that could not pay to go to their own graduation ceremony, let alone pay back their loans. So this is really a very important issue, and it's important for retaining and getting new faculty on board to teach nursing. So I think that I can speak to those. Finally, the most critical issue facing the Oregon Nursing Association right now, I have listened, to what everybody said about the executive director, and I do think that's important. However, I think it is important to maintain the caliber of leadership that we have now, that we continue to operate with transparency, with resilience, with open communication and collaboration while honoring diversity and inclusiveness. And I really believe that if we practice these values, everything that we care about and that we hope to achieve will fall in place. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Terry. So we have a question from Martin Taylor on the phone. Martin, you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Yeah, let me test to see. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Excellent. Well, let me start by saying that I really appreciate all the work that it goes to setting up a town hall like this, and I really appreciate all the candidates who are participating. The technology this time seems to be going a little better than last time, so I also would like to acknowledge that we're on a learning curve, and the technology is working pretty well, all things considered, so thanks. My question for the candidates, and I'm going to sort of toss it Caitlin's way first, and then let everyone who wants to participate have a chance to answer as well. ONA is an organization that has costs that rise about 7% a year, and some of that is pretty hardwired into, we have a unionized workforce, and so our staff get an average of a step plus a COLA. So 75% of our budget has an escalator of about 7% a year, pretty much no matter what. To keep up with our budget, there are really 4 approaches. One of those is to raise dues, which is typically unpopular with our members, and we haven't done that for 3 years. One is to cut costs, which we try to do as a staff. One is to raise more non-dues revenue, which can come here and there from things like Ocean or from the foundation. But the way that I'd like you guys to respond is our successful strategy for the last 3 years, instead of raising dues, has been growing our membership by 7% or more. I'd love to hear from you how you feel like the role that you're running for can also be a way to continue to grow our membership by about 7% or more, so that we can try to continue to run ONA in a way that's both financially prudent, but also keeps us from having to raise dues, which is generally unpopular with the membership.
Caitlin,
So Caitlin, you want to take a stab at answering Martin's question?
we're just getting you.
She's self-muted.
Caitlin, it appears that you're self-muted.
Okay, I was not self-muted, but thank you for unmuting me. Unfortunately, I went through a weird internet lapse or change, and I did not hear all of Martin's questions. So I'm going to recap it and make sure I understand it before I answer it. The general sense of the question was, what strategies can we employ to continue to grow our membership at a rate of 7% in order to offset our largest cost, which is personnel, rather than raising membership dues?
Perfect.
Okay. So I think we have a couple, there are a couple of things that I would like to see in order to do this. But I will be the first person to say that I think it is also important to evaluate all options on the table. And one of those options is to raise dues. We have not raised dues in 4 years. And with rising costs everywhere, I don't think it's inappropriate to evaluate that option. It's something that we haven't done in a while. So I definitely see that as an option. But to more directly answer the question as to what are strategies that we can use to avoid using that option, I think there are 2 main categories that I think we can really escalate. The first is to continue to build our CAT teams, which is our membership leaders, which is what we used during the We Are ONA campaign. And continuing to use the House of Delegates and the bargaining unit leaderships as opportunities to further train each other with success stories on how we got new members to join. I think building this idea that building membership comes from members themselves, not from our staff, but is done with staff support, has really transformed the success of building membership in a homegrown way. I think something that we could do is maybe to have, similar to the bargaining unit leadership summit that we have every year, is maybe a similar type of retreat for CAT members or stewards to further drill down on those, especially for people who are really interested in that option. And then the second option I think we have is something that the House voted on, and so this is not really like a unique idea that I'm having. It's something that our membership wants, and that is to um, build our allied health workers, and to by doing that, bringing in more facilities. A lot of our facilities are at pretty high percentages. So eventually, I anticipate we'll be at 100% everywhere. And so going to new facilities is our next option. I think the best way to do this is to support their staff that are currently in place as they go through an analysis of what their resources they are going to need, and then hiring the appropriate staff in order to facilitate this very different type of organizing. This personally excites me a lot because not only will it bring nurses into the fold who have been wanting to come in and to have this support and to be part of this advocacy movement that we have as ONA. But for me, I think it helps show support to future nurses, people who are currently working more in ancillary roles like our CNAs and our technicians who are interested in going into nursing but don't have the exposure or don't have the support. And for me, I see bringing allied health workers into the fold as a way to build future membership. So I'm not talking about members in 5 years, but more like 15, 20 years as they are able to position themselves to enter school, have support from hopefully our organization as we build our equity and inclusion programs. So as far as like financial support and mentorship support, as we continue programs like NLI, and see that we have been there for them, and obviously the obvious choice would be to continue as an ONA member. So I see that as a really long-term investment that will have a really positive return for our membership and help decrease the need to increase dues dollars.
Great, thank you, Caitlin. Anyone else want to address the question for Martin?
So hi, this is Allison Seymour. Along with Caitlin, I'm very happy about the We Are ONA campaign. It was widely successful, and we did grow our membership. I am a professional member. I work at a non-union hospital, and so what I would really like to see is I would like to see our professional membership grow. I really value the Ocean platform and being able to get CEs online. I think that could be a strong revenue source for us. But I do think that we should also look into certification classes. I'm working on my PCCN right now, and if ONA offered a course, I'm sure we could get some people to the office to take that. I'm pretty, you can't see this right now, but I'm pretty pumped about our non-dues revenue source of t-shirts. I'm wearing my t-shirt right now. And I'd like to see us grow that, because not only does it help promote ONA, but it helps bring in revenue. I want my bumper stickers on my car, and I like it when people honk at me. I like to pretend like it's because I saw my bumper sticker. We also have a very good opportunity with the allied healthcare workers. I want to reach out across settings to those people that need union support. And we're all brothers and sisters in healthcare, and we all deserve safe staffing and the same rights and responsibilities. So I hope that along with these things, we can address those cost rises. Thank you.
Carrie?
I would just like to add that I've always advocated for this, but I think the best time to get professional members and also other members is through the nursing programs and the schools of nursing, and making sure that we have some kind of adjunct ONA member, steward, whatever, to go into the schools of nursing, go into their classes, and talk about ONA and the value and why it's so important to be an ONA member.
And Lise would like to say something as well.
Yes, but just to talk about how Caitlin mentioned homegrown membership and doing that work. When I did become a professional member, one of the things that became incredibly important just in my own mind was that we needed to have our unit be 100%. And there was so many new people coming in and going, and our bargaining was going on at OHSU right at that same hour. And so personally took it as a new steward upon myself to kind of just let people know about the union, and found that most people wanted to be a part of it without much effort. And if they weren't a full member, they just needed a little hand-holding on how to do that. then took that a step further to try to build our storage team on our unit, and have been working on that. And my idea is that I've seen that these small amounts of efforts are working, and helping people be empowered to do it themselves, kind of sharing those successes is one way that I think I can contribute to helping people become members, to help the budget work out well. It's not impossible. The effort, there's one effort, but it's such a wonderful organization. It's pretty an easy sell. So I wanted to speak to that piece.
Thank you. Jay, did you have a comment as well?
Hi there.
Hi.
Okay, great. Sorry, still getting used to this online thing. Okay. So I have one new idea. Besides that, though, I think everyone else brought up some really great ideas. And I don't know if actually someone did mention this at some point, but I think just creating a map of our membership demographics and recognizing where we are represented and where we're not, and then really focusing on showing up at areas where we're not and trying to either put on an event of some sort, or just letting individuals who might be in these areas know that they can be part of ONA. I'm thinking about skilled nursing facilities. I'm thinking about assisted living facilities. I'm thinking about the support staff that have not had the opportunity to be represented in the past by ONA. At the same time, I think that's that Caitlin Reed also brought up that piece. And then I actually really appreciated what Allison Seymour had to say about creating a connection beyond ONA and promoting not only the leadership opportunities that ONA puts on, but also just letting people know that ONA isn't only for ONA, that what's a better way to say this? Like, that all nurses in Oregon can be part of ONA rather than it be, just at represented hospitals. So I think, I speak sometimes to folks I know at Kaiser and let them know about ONA opportunities, and sometimes people are like, well, we're not represented there, and I'm like, well, it's still a professional organization, and you can do a lot of great things through them. So I think making sure that just getting the word out is a big part of it, and just being persistent about getting the word out.
Great, thank you, Jay. Any other questions?
Sure. So this is Deborah, and as many of you know, my world is government relations. And so my question is, sometimes we as a team have challenges pulling in our members who don't think that they're advocates, although I genuinely believe every nurse is an advocate inherently. What would be your strategy for identifying people who don't see that in themselves, and then what would it look like if we were to build out either a strategy, an intervention, a program to get more folks involved in the advocacy work at the local level? Because we do have lobby day once a year, but how do we keep them activated, in their districts with their legislators and other folks to make sure that we're keeping the momentum going?
Okay, Allison would like to answer that.
Okay. So hello again, this is Allison Seymour. I'm going to tell a little bit of a personal story about how I got started with advocacy with ONA. I clicked on the legislative issue, or I clicked on a link on the ONA website, and that link led me to an email to Chris Hewitt, and he called me up one day and he asked me if I would be willing to testify. And it scared me to death. I thought of like a courtroom. I thought that I was going to be like in front of a lot of people. I was just terrified. But then he called me the next day and we talked over the phone. We talked about the issues. He gave me the resources that I needed. I came and I found out it wasn't that scary. It wasn't that bad. And because I had a passion to help the issue get advanced, it went so well. And for anybody that is hesitant to testify, I would just say, I'm terrified of talking. So I have a stutter. I have a hard time with words sometimes, but it's not necessarily about your barriers. It's about what can happen when you do testify, and what can happen to the lives of others when we do get out there and use our collective voice. I think that to identify new leaders and new advocates, we could have a course at convention, because there's a lot of people that are passionate about the things that affect them in the workplace and in their communities. And if we found people that were passionate about certain things, our staff have the ability to give us the right resources to do the right things. And then on the local level, I think when I joined the PAC, there was a big learning curve. I had a lot I didn't know about, from being a non-Oregon resident. I grew up in Washington. I didn't know the Oregon districts. I didn't know how the Oregon I didn't know enough. But the legislative staff had given me the tools to become an advocate, and if I can do it, hell, anybody can do it.
Lee.
So one of the things that I was lucky enough to get to work on at the Nurse Leadership Institute this year was with a group of people interested in helping public advocacy, and we had all sat down and thought, well, what does that mean? Which it took a lot of conversation. But one of the things that we got to was talking about a way that we could remove barriers when someone has identified that they want to do that. And so this project is still in its baby stages, in my opinion. It could be grown a bit more, but we created a brochure that could be translated not only in print but also in media, and we put it out there through the ONA for follow-up emails after lobby day for people that have reached out to that link. They can look at it. There's more work to be done on it, and I think that helping people understand that they can grow the person within them to be an advocate, the biggest part, from my opinion, is kind of listening to where that person's at, and it is an individual thing. You need to find them wherever they are. Maybe Shay's idea of making a map is brilliant, because then you know where you're underrepresented. You can kind of focus more resources in that area to get people in front of you, and then give them tools that they can think about in their own space. Is something that I've personally found always helpful, is that when I'm at a convention or doing something, a lot of it's coming at me and I'm taking it all in, but having some time to sit back and think about it and click links and get involved and read material, that's where it's at. So I think that just kind of continuing the mission, so to speak, and moving forward with keeping transparency within the organization, transparency within all of the cabinets and different levels of ONA is huge.
Thank you. Terry would like to add something.
So as far as advocacy, one of the things I want us to appreciate, because I've been with ONA for a long time, is how far this organization has gone. And it's been so exciting. The last election with Representative Prusek, who's my state representative, and I'm so grateful for the work that we all did to get her elected, because it's good to have a nurse down at the state legislature, is we have really excelled in building up our team of advocates. And you could feel it and you could tell it when you come to events here at the ONA that were sponsored, either whether it be for Measure 101 or for Representative Prusek, State Senator Rob Wagner. It's just been growing, and I'm so excited. I'm so proud of that. I think we do have an opportunity with this next election. I think there's a lot of issues that people care about. If you're trying to identify specifically how to get more people down at Salem or working on an issue, I think it's really important to use our media, use Facebook, open our Twitter account and start tweeting. I've been tweeting at you, but there's nobody there who's handling Twitter. And also in the newsletters that go out, whether it be the legislative updates or the Friday newsletters, to identify what issues are we working on and have a link or something right there. If this is an issue that you care about, email this person or click on this link. Or if you don't want to do it that way, you could take a poll of the issues and say which one of these really, entices you, makes you want to get up and be more active. And you don't have to have all the tools. A couple of weeks ago, I went back to Washington, D.C. for the National Nurse Act. And every time that we go to D.C., we take newcomers. And it's so fun because there's always people that have been there before, and there's always people that have never laid their foot on the Capitol steps. And it's exciting, and as long as we're there to mentor and support, it really turns it into a very inspirational, kind of invigorating time where people want more. They taste it and they want to do it again. So I think that's why we keep growing it, and but I do think that there's more opportunity that we can. Okay.
This is Caitlin Reed.
Yes, Caitlin, go ahead.
So I think something that would help with, oh, thanks, there I am. Something that I think is still in development, but I'm excited for its potential is I want to see our CRM, which is like our database of our membership, which is being revamped, hook in with our new website redesign, which is also underway. I feel like a lot of our lives are digitized, and that is the portal to get people into Deborah's guiding hands of that office so that they can have that experience like Allison did. I think it's we want to have a lot of information about our members, and we do, like our labor reps know us, but that information is not really shareable, it's not accessible. And so I want to leverage technology so that we can have people get connected into the correct spots, so that when we do have an opportunity that's in, a non-lobby day year and it's June or whatever, we can hook them in and say, hey, we know that you're really into politics. Please read about this issue. It's happening in your area, and that kind of thing. That way they have that information, and then it's, here's how you do more. And I'm not talking about just like sign this petition. I think people are craving more advocacy, more of those opportunities. And so I want us to leverage our technology to put the voices behind that and really get our issues elevated.
Great. Thank you, Caitlin. Shay, did you have another comment?
Hi there. Yeah, some really great ideas so far. I think I really enjoyed Terry's idea about a current link page on the ONA website about like, here's what we're working on. I also think that something that Caitlin echoed, the idea about finding something that might be going on in your neighborhood that you don't know about. I think when I attended the National Student Nursing Association, a similar measure was brought up, and there was a lot of interest at the time. And I think that sometimes as we're seeing some chaos play out on like a national level, I think people who want to people who care about what's going on want to be empowered, but sometimes it's hard when you don't see leadership from the top. And so I think that focusing on things that we can change in measurable ways in our communities is a great way to do that. And anyway, so then I think something else is just that, and ONA has always provided this for me, but just creating an environment of mentorship and collegiality. And I was so afraid in nursing school about this idea that nurses eat their young, and now I really don't believe that anymore, because the entire time for me, it's always been nurses cultivate their young. And I think trying to change some of those long-held views about nursing it speaks again to the power that ONA holds in its ability to bring new people into an organization and to, just really make sure that they're well supported and encouraged and listened to and have a seat at the table. It's an honor.
Great, thank you, Jay. Okay, I think that's it for questions, and I want to take a moment to thank you all for participating in ONA's statewide election town hall. I think it was a really great conversation. A lot of good ideas were floated, and I'm excited. I'm going to go vote right now. So please give yourselves a big round of applause. And I hope all of you have enjoyed the event as much as we have, and that you were able to learn more about the candidates running for elected office.